Hello friends, this is Chandrasekhar again. This time I propose to start a series on grahas, including what is at least my understanding of what grahas, rather how the grahas operate to give results in chart of a jataka. Jataka means one who is born. So whenever we talk about a chart of a person, we call that person to be the jataka. Now, let us understand what is defined as graha in Vedic astrology and why we generally use only 7 grahas, that is 7 planets, and the 2 nodes, whom the sages have already called as Chaya graha, that means shadow planets, which means the planets are what we think to be planets and appear in physical form as shadows, which we always see at the time of eclipse, that is Rahu and Ketu, the north node and the south node of moon. So how did they define this, or what is my understanding? There is a shloka in Brihaparashari supposed to be written by Parashara, father of Maharshi Vyas, who divided the original single Veda into 3 Vedas and later on into 4 Vedas. So Vedatrayi they call it, and then they call it, as we know them as 4 different Vedas. So this Parashara, also called Pangu Muni because he was there, is one of the Pravartakas, the not originator but those who disseminated the knowledge of astrology on this loka, this world, this earth, and that knowledge is supposed to have come to them from Lord Shiva on to Shaunaka, who gave it to Narada, and so on. So what he says, I am sure most of you are learned Jyotishi, must have read Parashara Purashastra as it is called, or Parashari as the correct name is there. And what he said is Gacchanto Bhani Grunhanti Satatam Yetu Te Grahaha Bhachakrasya Nagashvansha Ashwinyadi Samavaya, which means that part of when they are talking about Ashwini, which is the nakshatra, Ashwini and other nakshatra. So what is it? Those who travel through the Bhachakra, that is the zodiac, and are always moving, who appear to grab or hold the part of the zodiac which are called as Ashwini and other nakshatras. Naga means Nagashvansha. Naga means that which does not move. The nakshatras, though in English you may call it constellation, but it's a bit different, and they are 27 in numbers. In some places we do use 28 nakshatras, but generally when we are talking about nakshatras in horary, rather the hora, that is predictive astrology, we consider 27 nakshatras. And it says those who appear to move in the zodiac and appear to grab Grunanti, those that are steady, the nakshatras, which are Ashwini and other nakshatras, and they are defining it that nakshatras are part of the entire zodiac that we consider. So whatever is below that appear to grab the nakshatra, which also means you have to be able to see them, and that is the reason in Vedic astrology only 7 planets, including of course Sun and Moon, who are actually primarily luminaries, and the 2 shadow planets are used, and we don't use Uranus, Neptune and so on and so forth. Personally, I have no problem if somebody uses them and is able to predict correct using those planets, but as far as Vedic astrology is concerned, we use the 7 planets only. Now, the word graha itself means to grab hold of. It also means perception, it also means understanding. So Duragraha is having some sort of a, you are certain about something which may be wrong and we still hold on to it, is called as Dura Agraha. So Graha, Agraha, all these are, derivatives of one word in Sanskrit, as is usual for the Sanskrit. So, the way I look at it is, these nakshatras were said to be wives of moon. Now, moon, as you know, is the karaka for mana, the mind. And why? Because moon never is of the same size. He goes on changing his size throughout the month. Sometimes he grows from the Shukla, that is the bright fortnight, first tithi of bright fortnight up to Purnima, as we call it, or in English we call it full moon day, and then goes on reducing from there in the dark part of fortnight, called as the Krishna Paksha. Paksha means part, it also means 15. So, because the one Paksha is 15 days, out of the 30 days, 15 days are bright fortnight, 15 days are dark fortnight. And then he goes on till Amavasya, the new moon day, when you can't see him almost. So, once we understand this, then the connection of moon with mind is clear enough, and we know mind is variable. And now what they are saying is, those planets which are in perpetual motion, satatam, always move, gachanti, they move. So these planets moving throughout the nakshatras will cause some effect on our mind, because nakshatras were supposed to be the wives of moon, and so you can understand the connection between it. Now, as an engineer, I look at it in a slightly different fashion. I think that since it's a well-known principle of engineering, that change of magnetic flux induces electricity. That is how our electric motors work, that is how the generators work. When you reverse the system, you make the magnets flow around, electricity is generated. Okay, that is measured in amperes. Here in the universe around us, on Earth, as you know, all the planets have their own magnetic poles, so they have a magnetic field around them. They are in perpetual motion, and more so. See, they don't move concentric to each other. Their trajectory is at an angle to each other. So the same trajectory and same position of planets is not likely to come every time. And so every point of time there is a different electrical field operating, that is in nanoteslas, which affects our mind, of rather the mind of the Jataka, the one born. We are also born, so I said our mind. And the anterior fontanelle is open when one is born. It closes gradually over about 3 to 4 months time. I mean, the mothers who are listening to this would understand, even the fathers would understand. And that is when the brain is open to external influences, and that is when the programmed chip of our brain is finally imprinted, and that is why people behave in certain fashion, and that is related to the time of birth and the place of birth, because here the electricity or the electrical field which is operating or influencing our brain is different at different places, as can be understood, because as you know, the trajectory of planets is different, and so at different places the distance would be different, the electrical field would be different, and that is why when we cast a chart we need the time of the birth, the place of the birth, and of course the date of the birth, because all these three, when they combine, give us a certain particular point in time at a particular place where a particular electrical field will be operating. Now, till this time everything is easy to understand. We have EEG, electroencephalograph, where the working of brain is understood. We also know that when people lose their mind, if I can be polite in saying, or if they are insane, a very blunt way of saying it, whichever you like, And then earlier days the cure was through giving them electrical shocks, and then it was observed that people behave a bit more rationally. So the electricity, our brain, our actions are all connected, and that changes from the time of birth to time of birth, and so different people have different way of reacting to it. And to my mind, being an engineer and also I was breeder of animals, so I know a bit of animal kingdom, a bit of engineering also. And so, to my mind, this is what they are talking about. And so, the movement of the planets has to be fixed against some point. So, what is the point? The sages decided the nakshatras, which are above the planets, are the right point because they do not move. Now, they do not actually move? No, they move over time, but at such a slow speed that it is not perceptible to us. And that is why the ionosha changes, and then because the Earth itself is at an angle to the trajectory of Sun and the other planets which are moving around it, and this goes on changing gradually, and that is why in Vedic astrology we deduct the ionosha, which is the degree of angle between the Sun's trajectory and the Earth's equator, and we need to see that planet actually to understand what is likely to happen, and that is why the brightness of the planet has a great bearing on how we interpret the chart. That again is why when a planet is near Sun, obviously Sun's brightness being more, the planet becomes almost invisible or less bright, and we say it is combust and is not able to give its full results. And naturally, Sun being a larger planet, the magnetic field is also larger. I mean, those who are into engineering or any finite science can understand that mass has also to do with the amount of magnetic energy that is exerted. And that again is why when the planets are away from Sun, they are called Vakri, they are retrograde, because they appear to be retrograde. They are not physically retrograde. See, Earth, when Earth moves ahead and the planet goes behind, because difference of speed in all these planets, they operate at different speed. To complete the entire circle of zodiac, they take different speeds because of the distance from Sun. And so when they are away, we call them Vakra or retrograde, and they are supposed to be 3 times as strong as when they are in the normal at normal speed. They are operating at a normal speed. They are direct. Similarly, when Moon is away from Sun, he gets Pakshabala, which is also called the Vakrabala of Moon. So Pakshabala is strength because of the fortnight in which it is. So in bright fortnight it is stronger. In dark fortnight it gradually becomes weaker, and generally the points that are acceptable are from first day of from 8th day of bright fortnight to full moon day, and on going on like that to the 8th day of dark fortnight, after which it becomes less and less visible, so we can see lesser energy coming from it. Perhaps its magnetic field gets afflicted or reduced because it is going nearer Sun, and so we say that it is weak. In Pakshabala, the strength that the planet derives because of its strength in being a particular fortnight at a particular point of time. Now we are also to understand that the sages have said Sadaiva Vakrina Daitya Surya Chandra Shigra Goyataha, which means they are talking about Daitya. Daitya is the one of the nomenclatures for Rahu and Ketu because of mythological story which talks about the, now we call them Devas, but they were actually Rakshasas. Those who protect water are also called Rakshasas. And so they always move backwards, whereas sun and moon will always move in forward motion. The rest of the 5 planets by implication are sometimes move forward and sometimes move backward. Now this move forward backward is also to be understood from point of reference of earth. Here we see them moving backwards because we are going ahead of them. They are slower at that point of time, we go ahead, and it appears on the against the nakshatras, map of nakshatras, which is our reference point, as if they are going backwards. They don't actually go backwards. Any person with a bit of knowledge will understand that centrifugal and centripetal force, when they are almost equal, the planets will or anything will go on revolving in the same direction without falling. So this has to be understood. It doesn't mean they actually go backwards, but yeah, influences will change because their magnetic energy will operate on a different part of Earth, and so this also happens in the charts, which is a different subject, and people have different opinion about it. But let us understand that that is why I would never advise using true notes, because if we use the parameters given by the sages to us and the results based on those parameters, then our changing those parameters would simply mean that the results also would change. And then what happens is, many a times new astrologers or young astrologers or even sometimes the established one do not understand why the results are not coming through as told by the sages. Now, if you change the parameters themselves, results will naturally not match. Like in USA, you use 3.5 liters as a gallon, whereas the imperial gallon used in England is 4.5 liters, and both of them talk about gallon. Here in India, we talk about liters of petrol, and you can't equate all those when calculating the average or the fuel consumption of a car. And even there, if you use kilometers instead of mile, everything will go awry, and then you will think that I have been deceived either, or that I am not applying the science properly. So this is about Graha. What they do is they also create certain wherever they are placed in the natal charts. In those areas, some indication of their energy or their ability to program is indicated, and the bhavas that are generated from Lagna to the 12th, about which we have already talked, planets there would create some sort of an energy which we say is malefic energy or benefic energy. Please remember that by themselves no planet is benefic or malefic. It is how they act on our mind, and because of that how we act unto others, and the results deriving out of them has caused the sages to give them some nomenclature. Now if one is white, then another has to be black, isn't it? So I mean, you can call the dark things as white also if you want, then you will naturally have to call the fair things or the things which are not dark white. Similarly, if one is benefic, then the other planet which has a different way of operating would be called, rather the diagonally different way of operating would be called a malefic. Please remember this, and this is more so for our Indian astrologers to understand, because we worship all 9 planets. Now, does anybody worship a malefic? He would not. And another thing that I want to impress upon the learned astrologers who are listening to this, and please remember, whatever I am telling is my interpretation of what is given by the sages. This is nothing that I have created. This is my interpretation. I may be wrong. If I am wrong, please correct me. I would like to learn from the learner, because for me, study never ends. Till the end of my life, I want to go on studying, and I hope that I learn the entire gamut of the predictive astrology. There are 3 parts. I think I know a bit about the Hora part, which I am trying to explain to you through all these lectures. And so, you can look at it in this way, that the malefics have energies and benefics have knowledge, let us put it this way. So, they are softer, And that is why in the third house, as you know, benefics are not supposed to be good. That doesn't mean they are bad. They cannot give that cutting edge of competition to you because they aspect the dharma, the righteous duties, and so that person may not want to be in a cutthroat type of competition which is there in this world in these days. Maybe it was also earlier. That is why the sages gave this sort of nomenclature to them. And that is why again they have created the functional nature of planets which is different from person to person. They have done the results in transits which will again be different. And having understood this, now you connect this with the bhavas and you will get something out of it. So Mars in Lagna can indicate a hot temper. It also can indicate there may be some pain in head, and rather a very severe headache is possible because that is an energy and that energy has to come out somewhere. So also it is said that Mars aspecting or occupying Lagna can also give some injury on the head, and though part of the head is I take it half of it is half of our forehead is to be taken in head and rest in the face, that is the second bhava. So there can be some injury there. And who gets injury? Somebody who is active, who is always trying to do something, and he may get hit. And those who have younger children will know that when children have excess energy, they fall and they hit against something and all that sort of thing. Saturn is the thinker, and thinkers, if they are hurt, they can plan to do something so that the enemy or the opponent is paid back with even interest. And so he has a different type of energy, which is energy of inertia, not doing anything, thinking. So you have to understand all these things in the right perspective. So please understand this. Even the benefics at certain places can be damaging or can be not so good for the person. So let us understand that when we go into the predictive part, let us remove all this from our mind, understand that these are energies, these are planets. Planets are energy in your own brain, and these resources we have to handle. Because primarily there being only 12 rashis, there will be only 12 lagnas, 12 ascendants. Ascendant is the entire personality of the person. Now these grahas, the planets, influence that personality in different manner according to whatever has been told by the sages. And having said this, I will come to the conclusion of this lecture of mine, and the next one would be on Surya, the first planet, and a planet from which everything has been created. And at that time I will give you the relevant shloka just to indicate that unlike what is now thought by the modern world or modern even astrologers, that the sages did not know anything about how the universe was created or what was sun and what it did. I gave you shloka from Surya Siddhartha and from Maharshi Vyasa, either of the two, to indicate that they were aware that the other planets were created out of this sun. And so my friends, I will take your leave. As usual, do go on giving me feedback. I welcome both the bouquets and the brickbats. So, and if you want me to elaborate something in a different manner, please let me know. I will try to incorporate it in the next lectures. And so, as usual, I take your leave. Thank you very much.